Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison Podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 47 of Petty Please. Here on the Misty Morrison Podcast, we love to judge, we love to give advice, we love to read all the petty drama and be grateful that it is not us. Before we get into the stories for the day, our usual housekeeping, whether you are new or returning, please remember to engage with the content to help the channel grow. Whether you are listening on podcast, watching on YouTube, watching shorts on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, please remember to engage. Leave a 5-star review if you liked it, share it with a friend, like the video, subscribe for more, comment with your thoughts on the stories down below, all the things. Okay, into our stories for the day. Story number 1 is coming to us from r/neighbors from hell. Update: any advice for a resolution? This one is labeled vent/rant. Original post if it wasn't seen before. Since my neighbor moved in with his wife, 3 kids, and their dog, things have steadily gone downhill. On weekends, he blasts loud music, drinks heavily, and leaves trash, mostly beer cans, that ends up on our side of the street. His friends often block the road with their cars, and I'm fairly certain one of them hit mine. The dog is tied up facing our fence and barks throughout the night. My father tried speaking to him, but nothing changed. One night the music was louder than ever, multiple barbecue pits were going, trash everywhere, and more cars than usual. After my father called the landlord, who is the neighbor's uncle, the neighbor stood outside yelling nonsense toward our window for nearly half an hour. The music stayed just as loud afterward. We live on a small street with only 3 houses on our side and no HOA, so there's not much structure in place. His behavior has become increasingly aggressive, and it's honestly unsettling. I have my gargoyle up right now, my kitty gargoyle. The update: things have gotten worse. I talked about him, now the gargoyle got down. He's gonna go sleep on the job, I know he is. The update: things have gotten worse. We recently discovered that his kids have been jumping our fence to retrieve their ball. There was a chair pushed up against the fence and the wire was bent. One Saturday, they blasted their music even louder than usual. My father had reached his limit and decided to address it the next morning. Before 10 a.m., we played our own music loudly and revved my father's engine, matching the noise level from the day before. That alone set the neighbor off. He opened his window, yelled profanities at my father, and eventually came outside and fired a gun while making threats. I recorded some of the incident, though not the moment with the gun. We called the police. 6 units showed up, but nothing meaningful came from it. We were told he has a criminal history, was heavily intoxicated, and may face a citation for firing a gun on public property. Supposedly, another charge could put him in jail. We've kept the landlord updated, but he hasn't been helpful. It's always, I'll talk to him, or just call the police. We installed cameras this week, and they've noticed. They've toned things down a little, but not consistently. Another incident happened recently. The neighbor had company over again, including a kid riding a motorcycle. When they stopped, the neighbor's kids walked onto our driveway, where my car and my guest's car were parked. I checked the cameras and saw how close they were, so my father went outside. One of the kids told him to go back inside. When my father asked them to step away from the car, the kid got angry. I went outside and started recording. The neighbor came out to defend his kid, insulted my car, and then told the kids to go inside. He started ranting again, but stopped quickly when he noticed the cameras, and when his mother stepped outside. Suddenly, he changed his tone, claiming he didn't want problems and that we could just call him if the music was too loud. None of it was sincere. He only said it because he knew he was being recorded. At this point, I don't know what to do. The landlord hasn't taken action. The police report still isn't filed, and even with cameras, I feel unsafe leaving my house when they're home. People keep telling me to keep gathering evidence and eventually take them to court, but I want to feel safe now. That's such a hard situation because truly, I feel like what people have told you is the best. Like, there's a course of action that you have to take. I understand that you want to feel safe now, but the only way to feel safe right now is to move. That's the only way. Like, he's not moving. His uncle, I think, is the landlord. He's not going anywhere because any other landlord would have handled this by now. as long as this is the place where you live and this is your neighbor, really what you have to do is keep recordings from your cameras, keep recording in person, and report it to the police every single time something happens. Every single time. If it's not an emergency, call the non-emergency line, file a report. If it is an emergency, call 911. Make sure a report gets filed every single time to build your file until something can be done about him. I don't know if you live rural or if you're in a town. If you're in a town, there's probably some kind of noise ordinance that he is definitely breaking. I feel like for that, you could record the noise level along with like a video showing what time of day it was and see where that gets you. But as far as feeling safe now, you really can't while he's your neighbor. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/petty-revenge. I didn't charge my camera after I recorded Was I in the Wrong because it had like half battery, and I turned it on to record Petty Please today and it's blinking right at me. So we're going to see if it shuts off before I get done. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/petty-revenge. Shitty neighbor keeps stealing my laundry cycles and dumping my clothes. That sounds like fighting. They did it again today. Emptied my barely wet clothes out of the washer and into the dryer, then put their load of clothes in to run on the detergent and cycle I paid for, with all 3 loads of my laundry. Imagine my surprise when I show back up to the laundry room 5 minutes early to find my clothes soapy in the dryer and somebody else's laundry halfway through the wash cycle. Mine were dragged through the unclean lint traps on the dryer door too. I had 25 minutes to act, so I had to improvise. They were on wash cycle still, but would switch to rinse in a few. They're old machines, still some proper analog hardware interface to them, and the Bluetooth was installed after the fact, connected to the machine power supply and controlled the door. I paid for the cycle, so I used the app to pause my own laundry, grab some lint from the lint trap they dragged my clothes through, and toss a little into each stolen load. Then close the door to restart the rinse cycle, and then unplugged all 3 washers once they'd locked again, disabling the Bluetooth-based mid-load unlocking. I'm sure somebody will figure out the machine's unplugged, but I had to crawl back there pretty far, and if they're doing this to everyone else too, I'm sure it'll take a while for someone to decide to tell them. So, hey asshole, your clothes are staying in the machine until you learn to pay for your own damn laundry. Have fun getting them back. I'll be paying a new cycle for mine on a different floor. Edit update. It's been a few hours. My clothes are finally done. Stopped by the 2nd floor laundry room and was terribly dismayed to see there seems to be an issue with the 3 washers. Wouldn't let someone's clothes out. How unfortunate. Edit 2. Tired of answering y'all's questions about the time discrepancy, so I'm going to answer this once more. When you force the washer door while it's latched on rinse cycle, the machine stops the load, but the app doesn't update without the direct Bluetooth connection. The machines were older than the app, so the sync is all janky. It only locks during the spin cycle, and another tenant showed me how to get it to reset a load by doing that. It's useful if your clothes need a second spin cycle before rinsing. Unfortunately, somebody decided to use it to be a dick. Okay. I was not even concerned with any discrepancy. I was just really proud of you for taking action into your own hands, because that is about as low as you can go, stealing someone's wash cycle that they paid for. Not only stealing the cycle, but getting their clothes more dirty in the process of moving them to the dryer, actually putting them in the dryer to dry with soap on them. That's gross, that's rotten, that's underhanded. I hope they were out of clean underwear the day that their laundry got trapped in the washer. I really do. They deserve that. Yeah, good job here. Really lucky too that this building that you live in has laundry rooms on multiple floors. I once lived in a 24-story apartment building and there was only a laundry room in the basement for the whole building. So you're lucky anyway, you had options. Someone commented first thing that said, set up a mock load so they steal it. Knowing they will steal it. 1. Set up a mock load so they steal it, knowing they will steal it. 2. That mock load is a load for bleached whites. 3. They won't steal from you again. And then somebody replied, I would have just added bleach to the washer. They stole your washer. How would they prove that you weren't trying to do that? OP replied, "Didn't have any on me. I was washing my work pants. We'll try this if the issue continues, though. That said, my apartment complex isn't in a particularly nice part of town, and the shit I see in that lint trap was enough to make me wash all my laundry again. Theirs is going to be marinating in the damp with that stuff until the washer gets fixed." And you're proud of yourself. I love it. And truly, the bleach idea, brilliant. So brilliant. Kind of like whenever someone in a workplace is stealing your food and you lace it with hot sauce or something, or like super spicy peppers or X-Lax. No judgment. Yeah, I feel like it's similar to that, and you get what you give. Okay, story number 3 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. Loud music from neighbor. Fun. I stayed in an Airbnb once that had an inconsiderate neighbor living in the apartment above. He would blast his music late at night, keeping us awake. Being a bit of a geek, I made a discovery. If I used my phone to scan nearby Bluetooth devices, I could see what looked like a speaker. I tapped on connect and his music instantly stopped. I probably wouldn't have thought of this. He'd reconnected a few minutes later and play some more, and I'd wait a few minutes, then connect again, disconnecting him. After several times, he'd give up. He'd try again another night, and the same pattern, trying several times, eventually giving up. My gargoyle's back up by the ceiling. One night he had a bit of a party, and the music blared into the wee hours. I disconnected it quite often, and each time I could hear swearing before it would reconnect. He would probably have had no idea why. Probably just thought his device had a bad connection. I think I probably cleared it up for him eventually, though. On our last night, I waited until the middle of the night when he was sleeping, then connected once again, but this time played some music from my phone, and I could control the volume from my phone too. Bang, bang, bang as he ran from the bedroom to shut the speaker down. I lost some sleep again, but that was worth it. If I'm ever back in that town again, I might go sit outside and do it once more. I think I gave away my secret that night. Oh my goodness. That's awesome. I'm going to remember this one. I hope I never need it, but I'm going to remember this one. That's hilarious because, a lot of times like the Bluetooth devices, they do have sketchy connections. So it's totally plausible that, it might just be a bad connection. You have to reconnect it. No big deal. Who would actually think that like their neighbor around the corner, upstairs or downstairs, whatever, would be messing with them quite that technically? I'm here for it. The first comment says, "How long were you in this Airbnb?" OP replied, "About 10 days, I think. About 4 nights of loud music." I mean, hey. That's funny. Okay, story number 4 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. Call my friends trash. You're going to smell trash day and night. A friend of mine was having a tough time. After weeks of him basically missing, he stopped by to see us, looking pretty rough. Our snobby neighbor gave him a dirty look and audibly called him trash. My in-laws have been trying to convince us to establish a compost pile. We always said no because we were right in the middle of the city where all the houses were very close to each other. We started a compost pile right outside her bedroom window in the summer, and she had no AC, so she couldn't keep her windows closed. We put everything in there: chicken, potatoes, our dog's poop. She called the police, but they couldn't do anything. It was on our property along the shared fence. And we had AC, so we just kept our windows closed. She complained to us. I just told her, "Well, you're living next to trash, right? What did you expect?" That's a burn if I ever heard one. You're not making her eat her words, but she has to smell them every single day. That is nasty, but again, you get what you get in life. That is what she deserved. I did wonder about the dog poop, because once you're putting the poop in there, like, it's no longer a compost pile because you can't like use it for a garden, in my mind. And the first comment on here says, "You are petty revenging yourself into a problem. Don't put meat or dog crap in your compost pile unless you really like rats and other critters, and you certainly don't want that mixed into a garden. Your neighbor is a jerk, though." Someone replied, not to mention if you use any flea or heartworm treatments on your dog, those chemicals are also going right into your compost via your dog waste. Try to see if OP replies to this. No, OP did not reply to that comment thread, and it goes on. But yeah, I feel like you didn't really start a compost pile based on what you're putting into it, but as long as you call it a compost pile, you can get away with it. Good job. Let's see. Oops, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. Okay, story number 5 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. Petty gas pump showdown. I'm actually a fairly nice person, but my greatest flaw is my pettiness. At least you're aware. 50 Cent is my idol, and I want to be buried by his side at the petty cemetery. I hate assholes, and I use my pettiness for good by using it to out-petty them. Oh, this is already getting serious. The scene. -30 degrees in Canada. I'm going to get my car filled up at the full service. The space between pumps is enough for 2 cars to pass through to get to the road or to the plaza right beside the gas station. This woman comes flying into the gas station, but it looks like she's driving towards the plaza and using the gas station to cut through. She stops right in the middle. I look confused, and so does the gas station attendant. She just puts her car into park, and then I do the same. I take out my phone and pretend I'm looking at it. The gas station attendant knows what's going on, so he goes back inside where it's warm. She's staring at me, thinking I'm going to give in, but it's not my nature. She backs up and pretends she's going to ram into my SUV. I just start laughing. That infuriates her more. She starts her car and reverses it just enough for me to pull up to the pump. She goes inside, and the guy told me she started yelling at them and giving them attitude, and said she's going to pay for the pump where my car was parked, and that they need to tell me to move. He comes back outside, and she comes with a smile on her face behind him. He just unscrews my gas cap and asks how much I want. She starts screaming that she paid for that gas and that it's going into my vehicle. I'm like, lady, you can prepay for a pump, but that doesn't mean you get this pump right here. She screams that she wants a refund, and the owner comes out and says, here's cash, just leave. I get my gas and she is standing there, and I roll down my window and say, I won that round. Oh my goodness. And the first comment I could see, because it was just a short story, says, props, like claps to the gas station attendant and the manager for backing up OP on this one. I wonder if they had seen this crazy before. It's just gas, really. Like, especially if you can see that you're the second person there, just pull around behind them, wait your turn in line like everybody else has to. I'm here for this one. The parking, the gas stations, all that, I'm here for it. I mean, she really did it to herself. When she thought she could just go inside, prepay for that particular pump, and then, like, they would make you move. I don't know what she was thinking. Clearly she wasn't thinking. But you laughed and it infuriated her more, and I get that. Like, it's actually really funny, like, the way that laughter can make some people just so angry. like they feel disrespected, but you're laughing because they're being absolutely ridiculous. And they had it coming. Yeah. I love everything about this one. This one tickles me. And like the attendant, the attendant and the manager, they knew, they were down for it, they went along with it. Yeah. Okay, story number 6. I'm back. The camera died when I was getting started on story number 6, so we're going to go ahead and record that before I get dinner out of the oven. So, story number 6 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. Old story, hotel and pre-authorizations. Had a coworker who would pull this one out for the worst insufferable guests. Back in the day, we would run a credit card through a box linked to a phone line, which would do the pre-authorized holds. You swiped, entered the amount to authorize, get a code back, and write it on the charge slip. Then take an imprint of the card with the slidey carbon paper thingy. This is an old story. If a customer pissed him off, he'd take the imprint, enter the card number in the PA box, and pre-authorize $100 at a time over and over until it failed. Then he'd do it for $50, then $10. The holds, like now, stayed for a few days. So if the guest tried to use the card anywhere else for food, gas, whatever, it would be declined. As far as I know, this never came back to him. Okay. I mean, it really doesn't take that much to just be kind to your service workers. Just be kind. They are literally serving you. They're doing things for you that you cannot do for yourself in that moment. They are helping you. They are hopefully normally bringing joy to your life. You're on some kind of trip or something. Just be kind to others. It's really not that hard. First comment says, slidey carbon thingy is called the Zip Zap machine. Yeah, good on him. Next comment said, ours worked by giving a good old ka-chunk. Had to say it out loud while you were using it or it would get stuck. I don't make the rules. Then another comment replied and said, I hadn't thought about those in years until I got my replacement card today and noticed it doesn't have the raised numbers on it anymore. That's true. Most of them have flat numbers now. I never would have connected the fact that in the past, to like make a copy of the card, it had to be raised to do an imprint. Okay. Somebody replied and said, mine doesn't even have numbers. Someone else replied and said, my credit cards don't have raised numbers. It's very common because it increases card security. Makes sense. Okay. Let's see. That was story number 6. Story number 7 is coming to us from r/petty revenge. We went straight in for the pettiness today. Coughed on a vapor. Was on a packed commuter train home from work. Vaping or smoking is not allowed on trains. We're all squashed in like sardines, and I was standing minding my own business with one hand holding my bag and one hand on the overhead rail for balance. Dude in front of me reaches down and pulls out a vape, takes a small puff, and quickly stashes it away again, seemingly hoping no one would notice. You can't wait the length of your train ride? I'm side on to him, so this is happening 6 inches from my eyes. He lets his breath out. Immediately the air smells of strawberries or whatever scent chemical they use in vapes. The chemical triggered a cough reflex in me. Under normal circumstances, I'd have let go of the rail and covered my mouth, but I chose not to on this occasion. And then I coughed repeatedly, right at his face from 6 inches away. Served him right. He had it coming. Like, I am a stickler about you cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze, not with your hand, because your hand is then going to touch other things. You cough or sneeze into your sleeve, your arm, or sometimes, like if I'm coughing, I'll just pull my shirt up over my face. Keep it all in there. First comment says, wow, you have hit peak passive aggressive ediness. Another one said, that's aggressive. The first commenter said, it is indeed. Please accept my ladder. Join me on the podium. Oh my goodness. That. And someone else comments, this doesn't seem all that passive to me. The first commenter says, I honor your voice of dissent. Another one commented with your alibi here and said the coughing was involuntary. The not covering was strictly for balance. And someone else commented, I'm sure this peak could be exceeded, but this is excellent. And yes, it is. You truly gave him what he deserved. Like, just be considerate of others. It's really not hard. Okay, that is... I didn't click my button last time. Okay, That is 7 stories for this week's episode of Petty Please. Thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Misty Morrison Podcast, and I'll see you guys next time. Remember, kindness changes everything. Bye, guys.